Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for Dune. Of course, Dune, the highly anticipated epic from director Denis Villeneuve, who I love. I think is one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite directors currently right now, giving us movies like Blade Runner 2045, Arrival, Prisoners. He's really good. So I was really hoping that he brings his vision and do justice to the source material, which a lot of deep sci-fi nerds are going to be very familiar with, and I'm sure anticipating this film here. Again, this won't be the first time we see this as a movie. This was done in a movie back in the early '80s. We got a miniseries in the early 2000s, neither of which was really that good. I remember liking the original film Dune, but I was really, really young when I saw it. So, when you're that age, that young, cool sci-fi shit, giant worms. I mean, what's not to like? You know what I'm saying? I get it. So, but as I got older and saw it again, yeah, it's a bit of a slog here, and it's very convoluted. It just didn't work. So I get it. And I don't think that movie was well received when it came out originally, anyway. So, but here, listen, it's a chance for Villeneuve to bring his vision to this epic story here. So, and off the bat, geez, this cast is incredible. It really is. I mean, we got the likes of Rebecca Ferguson, Timothy Chalamet, who plays Paul, the main character. We got Jason Momoa, Zendaya. We got Dave Bautista, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Oscar Isaac. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's an incredible cast. This reads like an NBA All-Star team of cast here and all that. So, which is a good start to a film, right? And I'll say this because I want to talk this film in two parts here. The first part is the visuals, the actual technical filmmaking here, which is incredible. It's fantastic in terms of just that. I mean, the grand scope, the sense of scale that Villeneuve creates here is fantastic. The cinematography, the sound design is amazing. Some really cool shots. He does a great job of creating this world and making it you feel like you're there. And that being said, this movie deserves the big screen treatment, right? This movie is a cinematic experience visually, and it's worth going to theater just for that. I know it comes out on HBO Max and all that, but I don't care how big your TV is. It's just not going to do it justice. It's that good visually, and the filmmaking is fantastic here. What I think is going to be the issue for some, and it was for me to a certain extent, is the actual story itself. Listen, this movie is 2.5 hours long, and maybe a little bit longer than that. So, and it has a lot of ground to cover. So that being said, yes, this movie does have giant worms, and that's great. You don't get a lot of it, and it looks fantastic. But in terms of the story itself, yeah, this is where I think we could have a problem here, because there's just so much story to tell. The source material is incredibly dense, very heady. There's a lot going on here about a movie, focusing on this planet Arrakis, which is kind of a desert planet. There's a spice there, which different factions and houses, in the universe are all trying to get their hands on, because whoever controls the spice has an incredible amount of power and wealth that comes along with it. And the people living on Arrakis don't want anybody there, so they're always warring with whoever's trying to collect the spice or who's mining the spice at the time. So there's prophecies, all these characters, there's a lot going on here. And that being said, there's times where this movie drags. It's very exposition heavy, which I get. Listen, he has to create the world here, right? He's setting up this grand epic story, which I think is going to pay off down the road. And I think when holistically, after it's all said and done, this is going to be fantastic. But we can only judge it now by the first film, by the first installment. And it's slow. It's definitely slow paced. A lot going on and so much to introduce. It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for character development and all that. I think we're going to get that in later films. It would be nice to see it in this film, particularly, to kind of really get you invested in the characters. Right now, just kind of get invested in the story, which some people may find a little bit drab. It's not a fun film. It's not. It's not a, hey, it's not Star Wars. It's not Lord of the Rings. Those movies, particularly Lord of the Rings, was heavy, but it has some fun behind it, right? This one, there's a few jokes in the beginning here and there, but it's a very, methodically paced, very kind of drab kind of film to a certain degree. It's just very heavy, and when you're not having fun, it's an issue, right? I mean, there are some cool action sequences. There are. This movie is not a complete slog. It's not. Great set pieces, some really cool action, which kind of really help things push along here. But at 2.5 hours of a lot of introduction to a lot of characters and world building, it's a lot to take for an audience. Denis Villeneuve is really demanding a lot from the audience here. And particularly if you're at home watching it, some people at home, I do it too. I'm on my phone sometimes. I get distracted. You might lose out a lot as far as some of the story, or find yourself really getting invested in what's going on. So I'm really curious to see how the audience takes to this film. because don't get me wrong, it's a good film. It's even from story wise, I enjoyed it. I get what he was doing. I liked it, but I saw people, falling asleep in there. I saw people asleep for long periods of time. That first hour, it feels like 3 hours, and there's times when people are walking on the sand and it feels like they're walking for 25 minutes. I mean, you could have sped up a little bit more. And my biggest issue with the film, I think some people may agree, is that this is not a complete film. I mean, we've seen other movies, that are trilogies, obviously, but the first film is usually the most complete film. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and leaves more story to be told down the road. Here we get a beginning and a middle. There's no real end here, so we're really relying on the sequel to be made, and hopefully it will be, because there is a bigger story here, and I know it's going to be great, but it's relying on that for us to finish the story. So it kind of leaves you a little bit empty, like, okay, that's it. Where's the rest? So, and I don't know if that's really going to get audiences in droves to the theaters. Hopefully it does, because I am still recommending this film. I mean, if you know about Dune, if you're familiar with the source material, he packs a lot of it from the original story in here, so you guys are gonna love it, no question. If you're a diehard sci-fi fan, you don't mind heady sci-fi, dense material, absolutely. If you're one that just a casual fan and want to see some cool stuff on screen, this might not be for you. You're gonna get bogged down by a lot of story to be told here, and it's understandable. So if you that sounds like you, I don't recommend it. Anybody else, I do recommend it. Again, yes, it might not be the funnest film out there, most exciting film, but it's a good film, and it's incredibly stunning to watch. And by that measure alone, as a cinephile, as someone who enjoys the movie going experience, sometimes that makes up for a lot. Even with the slow story. Again, slow film doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's really not for everybody. So you're looking for some cool sci-fi stuff, this isn't it. If you like more of the heady, more kind of story-based sci-fi, this would definitely be for you. So that being said, do I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. I think you should definitely go watch it if that sounds like you. If you do, let me know. Comment below. Let me know where you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. I'll see you guys next time.